Now we're going to be speaking about the importance of routine weight monitoring.
Very
And at Harry, we really love weighing our birds. And there's a good reason for this. It's because we conduct quality assurance tests on our hand feeding formula.
Yes, the quality assurance test that we perform on our hand feeding formula requires us to monitor the birds daily for weight gain. Of course, when they're younger, we are expecting for them to have a 10% weight gain, which is why we use the chick chart at that point.
Right.
When the birds have become fledglings and they're into the early parrot education stages, then we're using the weaning chart.
Right.
Because we're no longer expecting for the birds to have an increase in weight on a daily level. We're actually monitoring now that they don't lose the allowed 10% from the plateau stage. And this can be done, but gradually and not dramatically from one day to the next. So it's very important. Weighing is definitely part of our daily work that we do on all of our birds. At this age, what we normally do when the birds have reached a stage 5 and 6 of independence, we usually weigh them on an every second day basis. When they're younger, it's every day,
right,
for sure.
And when they're younger, they would be weighed in a chick pen.
Yes.
But here we see them being weighed on a perch. And this incorporates another primary lesson.
It's very important to mention.
Step up.
Step up, yeah, this is very important. This is the early command that they learn. And it's a communication form for us, more than just a basic command, you have to do this. It's really very important that the bird learns how to do this in our care, so that the caretaker can then have an easier time to actually make him step out of his night cage, step down onto a perch to be weighed, and then step back up onto the hand and go into his day cage for the day. I really think that if caretakers were setting themselves up for success, they would have the scale perch and the scale very close proximity to the sleeping cage.
Right.
That way it becomes part of the daily routine. And it's not something that's out of the ordinary. Oh, I think I should weigh my bird this month. We haven't weighed him. Where did I put the scale again? This to me is an emergency arsenal for monitoring the bird's health. Of course, we will be using other things to monitor the health, but the weight is something that you should know by heart, especially if you only have a few birds in your care.
Right.
Which is why we don't use food reward, but we use the vocal praise.
Right. You can actually tell your bird what its weight is.
I think it's really fun to do that in the morning. We usually say that when we're actually recording it in the bird's file, but I like to look at our birds and tell him, oh, you're doing very good today. We've maintained our weight, and therefore we're still evaluating now. We're still in that stage. We haven't regressed. So it's a way of actually communicating to the bird that what we're doing is part of his life. It's part of the way that we're caring for him. It's a mentorship thing.
Right.
And it's definitely matter of fact. This is something that the bird should not be debating whether or not he feels like it or not. He needs to step out of the cage in the morning and he wants to go outside and flap his wings and get misted, then he needs to step up and down onto the cage. Very important to the stability, right?
Exactly. That's what I was just about to say, is that
Yes.
the stability of the perch is extremely important, because if not, they'll lose their confidence and it won't be a
Exactly.
positive experience for them.
So the various scales come with various perches. This one, of course, is our fun, wacky pyramid, and this was actually designed because we wanted to incorporate a fun experience with the bird, and also try to make sure that caretakers would actually see the importance of this. And it's not a medical device, it's a fun perch that gets put onto a very stable plateau. Scales are also very inexpensive, and as we mentioned before, they should be part of the departure package. And if you have a reasonably priced scale and the bird is already familiar to the perch, as it actually used as an activity perch as well, then there is no reason why this should not be part of the whole fun.
Right.